I'm Dr. Cory Potter. Welcome to Mind and Faith Matters, the podcast where we explore faith, mental health, and all the in-between. I'm really glad you're here today. In this episode, we're going to continue digging into being still before God. Today, we're going to talk about what that has to do with being present with Him. And if you're like me, being still can feel unnatural in our fast-paced world. There's always something calling for our attention. Our work, our phones, our to-do lists, our worries. But Scripture gives us this invitation. Be still and know that I'm God. Psalm 46:10. In the last episode, I said that at first glance, it sounds simple, but it can be more complicated or difficult for us in our distracted worlds to accomplish. In the original Hebrew, the phrase "be still" carries the idea of letting your hands loosen or fall and relaxing your grip, like ceasing your striving. It's as if God is saying, stop fighting, stop grasping for control, drop it, and know that I'm God. Today we're going to unpack what that really means, how it connects to practicing the presence of God, and I'll share some encouragement and practical tools, biblical and psychological, that can help us to actually live it out. Let's start here. When the Bible tells us to be still, it's not just about sitting quietly or doing nothing. It's about ceasing to strive and resting in God's presence. And the Hebrew word used in Psalm 46:10 for still is rapha, ending in AH. It literally means to loosen your grip, to let go, to relax. So being still is about releasing control and remembering who God is. When I researched this for today's episode, I remembered learning the term Jehovah Rapha, not ending in AH, but Rapha ending in A, which is a name for God in the Bible that means the Lord who heals. And I wondered how these two words, Rapha, to be still, ending in AH, and Rapha, to heal, ending in A, were connected. So the word Jehovah, in Jehovah Rapha, comes from a Hebrew word that means to be or to exist. It reminds us that God is always present. He has no beginning or end. The word Rapha, ending in A, means to heal or to make well. So when we say Jehovah Rapha, we're saying God is the one who heals us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There's also another Hebrew word that sounds very similar, Rapha, ending in AH. And as I've said, it means to let go, to relax, to be quiet. This is the word used in Psalm 46:10 when God says, "Be still and know that I am God." These two words, Rapha for healing in Jehovah Rapha and Rapha in stillness, they are connected. Sometimes healing begins when we stop striving and let go. When we choose to be still in God's presence and trust Him. He is present. It's just about us being still in that presence. Bible scholar Tremper Longman explains it like this. There is not a command to stop all activity, but to stop frantic activity and anxiety in order to focus on God's power and trust in His control. That's such a helpful distinction, right? Stillness isn't about zoning out. It's tuning in to God. It's being fully present with the one who holds all things together. This brings us to a beautiful spiritual practice, being present with God. Brother Lawrence, a 17th century monk, wrote a small but powerful book called The Practice of the Presence of God. In it, he described how he experienced God, not just during formal prayer times, but even while washing dishes or walking in the garden. One of my favorite quotes from him is this: "The time of business does not with me differ from the time of prayer. And in the noise and clatter of my kitchen, I possess God as tranquilly as if I were on my knees." Stillness, then, isn't about escaping the world. It's about inviting God into every moment. Whether you're doing laundry or leading a meeting, God's presence is there. Practicing stillness is about becoming aware of that presence. Here are 5 core principles from Brother Lawrence. Number 1, God is present. We just need to become aware. Brother Lawrence taught that God's presence is not reserved for quiet times or church, but available in every moment, even in the mundane. He wrote, "Think often on God, by day, by night, in your business, and even in your diversions. He is always near you and with you." Number 2, the presence of God can be practiced. Like any habit, we can learn to turn our hearts toward God moment by moment. Not just monks, everyday Christians, people who believe and want to get closer to God. Brother Lawrence said, "There is not in the world a kind of life more sweet and delightful than that of continual conversation with God." Daily life does not have to separate from devotion. Whether cooking, cleaning, or praying, every act can become sacred when done with awareness and love of God. He said, "I turn my little omelet in the pan for the love of God." Next principle, simplicity is powerful. We don't need eloquent prayers or perfect conditions, just sincere, frequent communion with God. Peace grows with practice, is the next principle. The more we cultivate God's presence, the more peace and joy we begin to experience, even in suffering. So I do want to give you some practical tools for stillness. Some of you, it happens naturally for. Others, you don't know how to start. And so when I give you these, I want you to know that not every one of them in order has to be practiced. But if you get used to looking at pausing throughout your day a little bit differently, it really can help you. So let's talk about some easy, practical things that you can do. Whether you've got 5 minutes or an hour to calm your body, quiet your mind, and open your heart to God's presence. First, you could create a sacred space, plus a slow down cue. Our minds love routines. Choose a physical reminder, maybe a favorite chair, a cozy blanket, or even a special mug that tells your brain, hey, it's time to unwind and focus on God. Each time you see it, pause and say, God, I know you're there. I'm here. Maybe that can spark being present with God for you. Number 2, progressive muscle relaxation. I call this tighten and loosen. Tense muscles keep your nervous system in go mode all the time. So progressive relaxation of those muscles clears the built-up tension. Pairing it with a breath prayer keeps your heart focused on God. It looks something like this. Tense one muscle group. Maybe it's your shoulders. You tense those muscles for 4 seconds. And then relax for 8 seconds. Do the same with your jaw, your hands, or your legs. And as you release, say, I'm giving my attention to you, God. I'm focusing on you. Third, it's the breathe and whisper technique. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, whisper a 2-word prayer like, Jesus help, or thank you. Anything that just reminds you that he's with you there. A fourth technique could be savor one verse. In this technique, you open your Bible and you pick a verse. Read it out loud. Choose one that stands out. 1, this gets you in his word, but 2, it helps you to focus on him. Repeat this word that you find in your mind for a minute or so and let it sink in. And say a prayer and learn to be silent and rest in God's presence for a minute or longer, of course. Another technique would be to notice your thoughts. If they're distracting you, it helps you to notice them. If your mind wanders to your to-do lists or your worries, don't judge yourself. Distractions come. God knows they come. And when they do, simply say, oh, there's that thought. For example, if you notice yourself with a distracting thought like, oh, I'm failing at this, mentally label it. Just label that thing. Say, there's the I'm failing thought. And then after you acknowledge it, just return gently to focus on God. The 6th way you could practice being present with God is through guided imagery with Jesus. In this method, you close your eyes and you picture Jesus calming the storm, for example, or helping someone. In the instance of Jesus calming the storm, maybe you can hear him say, peace, be still. And let that settle over you. Let it be addressed to you. And imagine Jesus saying it directly to you. It's powerful. Next, you could make some pause moments into your day. Set reminders, maybe 3 to 5 times a day. When one goes off, stop whatever you're doing if you can. If you're driving, I wouldn't stop driving. Take 3 deep breaths in and say, God, I need you now. And then move on with whatever comes next. And be sensitive to the fact that you've asked God, you've invited God, you've said to God, I need you. So respond accordingly. You know, another method would be to take quick notes. After any still moments that you have, jot down a thing or two that you noticed, maybe a feeling, a phrase, or something you're thankful for. Over time, you'll see how God shows up if you're jotting it down. And this one helps me tremendously. You need a weekly retreat. Some might call it a sabbatical. But I say you block at least 1 to 2 hours every week with no screens, no agenda, and during that time, read the Bible or some devotional. Pray, conversate with God, just talk to Him. Walk around or jog or ride your bike, doesn't matter. But simply just be with God during your downtime. A very simple yet powerful tool to practice the presence of God. So putting it all together, as we wrap up today's episode, let's bring it all together. We've talked about stillness, what it is and why it matters, and how we can practice, or at least begin to practice, in a world full of noise. We've looked at Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I'm God, and how that's not just a suggestion for rest, but an invitation for relationship, to deeper trust and awareness of God's care, His sovereignty, and His presence. And we've leaned into Brother Lawrence's reminder that stillness isn't a time slot. It's a way of being. It's the practice of tuning into God, not just on a quiet morning, but in the clatter of the kitchen and the chaos of a Monday. So as you head into the rest of your day or your week, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Where can I slow down and become aware of God with me? If today's episode encouraged you, helped you, or made you think differently about stillness and God's presence, I'd love for you to subscribe so that you don't miss future conversations like this. Share on all my social media. Maybe you know someone who might be blessed by it. Share it with them. Give me some feedback. You can go to my website, mindandfaithmatters.com, and there you can look at all the places that the both video and audio versions of the podcast exist. You can leave me a voicemail. You can contact me. You can sign up for the email list for all my friends to get additional content. And you can go and check out some of the resources that I'm placing there for each episode. I want to thank you for listening each week. I want you to know that being still before God isn't mystical, although it is spiritual. It isn't overly complicated, but it does take practice. And I want you to know that God really does want to heal in your stillness. Have a great week, and God bless.